Contestants may be blind in finding love, but they have to keep their eyes wide open for these strict rules they have to follow.
Don't think that it's all fairy tales and rainbows from here.
10 days. The time for mingling in the pods, believe it or not, is just a mere 10 days long before getting engaged. This is a reality show after all, and chop chop, producers have a schedule to run. That's certainly not a long time to get to know each other, but it just goes to show how far an emotional connection can take you.
I will remember this moment for the rest of my life.
Same city. While the first season was filmed in Atlanta, Netflix moved its pods in the second season to film in Chicago, and for good reason. The cast has to live there. This is partially why the show has a high success rate, because after the couples get married, they would still be in the same location, which increases their chances of sustaining a relationship. Many of the cast were actually scouted through dating apps located in the city. Harsh sleeping arrangements. Even though they're on a high-value production show, the cast don't exactly have the best place to rest their heads at night. They had to sleep in trailers that had correctional facility beds and slept for only 4 hours a night. The design was meant to make them uncomfortable. You shouldn't have signed up for a luxury vacation. The bachelors and bachelorettes also lived in separate places on set with their own team of producers. Finding love is just that big of a motivator, we guess, to withstand all of this.
And that's why I'm here.
Food requests. Even though they may not have the best sleeping arrangements, they do get a flavorful choice of food. Producers try to make the cast comfy by picking up anything they wanted to eat from the outside.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Including special snacks or coffee from your favorite stores. After all, they don't want the singles going into a date hangry. Looks. The purpose of the experiment may be to shield your appearance from your date, but you're actually allowed to somewhat give them a hint. They can say they look like a certain celebrity, whether they may be accurate or not.
Which is kind of crazy to even think about.
Host Vanessa Lachey said in an interview that since she knew what everyone looked like, having the girls describe who their date thought their date looked like and knowing it wasn't close at all, she knew ahead of time it would be an awkward encounter if they ever met each other outside of the pods. No phones. Love on this show is not only blind, but it's dialed back to a time of pre-technology, meaning they are not allowed to have phones, computers, or TV with them.
Guys, there'll be no devices, 0 distractions.
Even when not filming. It's confiscated in the first 2 parts of the experiment. Without this large distraction and not being able to communicate with outside family and friends, many cast members noted it helped them focus intently on their relationships.
I really like this.
Yeah, this is really nice. This is fun.
No producer interference. Usually with reality TV, you've heard of there being producers encouraging drama, but with Love is Blind, it's all out of their control.
Interesting.
Producers are just there to plan dates. They want the cast to control their own destiny and don't want to impact the emotional bonding between them in any way, which is cool.
And that's a really important reason why I'm here.
Dates. The first round of dates go in a speed dating style. This was all just for timing's sake. They would spend only 8 to 10 minutes with each person and then rotate just so everyone can get a chance to know each other.
And I think it's important to just try to explore, every conversation, every option.
College houses. Apparently, the experience of filming the show isn't that much different from living in a fraternity or sorority house, in a sense that everyone is chatting up about their love interests.
I met with the funniest guy, and I didn't even get his name. He's just a mystery.
Although you may think people would get catty if they like the same person, the girls had said it felt more like a sisterhood. The guys would do plank competitions while the ladies would cook together and go for runs. How fun. Alone time. It might get stressful and chaotic throughout the day with having to decide who you could potentially want for a partner for the rest of your life, which is why the cast are allowed a timeout if they really need one.
I'm emotionally exhausted.
Men and women bring notebooks, and you could do a lot of journaling to get your thoughts out. Visitations. After the speed dating portion, the cast can actually decide when they want to visit the pods.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
They can arrange to date multiple times a day to enjoy deep conversations, as well as stay as long as they want. The longest sessions lasted 4 to 5 hours and were cut short only because of a bathroom break. Sometimes a connection is so good that the couple didn't want to stop, even when producers encouraged them to eat and sleep.
Let me in.
Date activities. Usually, couples try to get to know each other through some form of activity, and they try to formulate the same routine on the show, just without seeing what the other person is doing. For instance, some wanted to have lasagna for dinner together, read, serenade the other with a ukulele,
You ready for this?
I'm ready.
or even just nap and the producers will fetch the items they requested. Vulnerability. If there's one thing producers do ask the cast to do is that they can't be afraid to get deep. This isn't a superficial show, and all your deepest fears would be encouraged to be shared.
I believe in the importance of vulnerability. I like crying. I feel like emotions are strength and tears are strength.
After all, it's hard to fall in love with just small talk conversations. Some take longer than others, but the cast themselves encourage each other to open up. Hosts' interference. Hosts Nick and Vanessa are pretty tight with the batch of singles. They have shared that they're basically mentors and best friends to the cast, but that doesn't mean they can give advice to sway anyone in a particular direction because the hosts are pretty knowledgeable about everything taking place. Long filming hours. Going to find your one true love can actually be quite hard as you're expected to film for 18 to 20 hours a day.
I'm like, if you can handle it, like that, let's go all day.
That must be really exhausting, especially if you spent most of it talking. No drink restrictions. The stress of potentially meeting your future spouse and the fact that you're going to be watched by millions can be incredibly nerve-wracking, which is why there are practically no limits to how much drinks are consumed.
Oh my goodness.
Gossiping. Even though this may seem like a one-on-one experiment, you're allowed to talk to other cast members too, just like how you would talk to other peers at school. It's something to bond over. If there's a friendly enough connection on a set update without it feeling romantic, they can vent to each other about the people they're actually interested in. Or you can get the support of your same-gender friends to make sure they are on the right path. No connection, no airtime. The original cast had about 40 to 50 people, and that was just simply too many to broadcast. So if anyone didn't establish a connection, they were asked to leave. This way, audiences can follow the stories of the ones that have a genuine connection and allow them more time to connect. Proposal time. You may think that getting engaged within 10 days is wild, but if you really are ready, you can get engaged even before that. There's no time limit. They can immediately see what their fiancé looks like the day after the engagement. Love does not wait.
Wow.
Secretly engaged. Once you are betrothed, though, your big news would have to be kept hush-hush from everyone, including your family, until they returned home for the second phase of the experiment. Well, it's probably for the best to test trial the relationship first. Plus, since they met on a show, they aren't allowed to publicly announce the news until after the show has aired. These rules definitely set the cast up for a once-in-a-lifetime experience, but you gotta do what you gotta do in the name of love, right? Would you ever get engaged without having seen your fiancé? Let us know in the comments below. Like this video if you want to stay up to date on the latest reality TV news. And we'll see you next time on The Things Reality.